Hello students, as I promised, here I am again with a new video. In this video, I am only going to explain this nested loop which we have taken in our SJF CPU scheduling algorithm program. And as I mentioned, this loop is for what reason? This loop is only to rearrange or to sort the BT array as per the smallest burst time. Okay. Now before I explain this logic, let me just draw that array called as BT. Don't bother about this uneven shape of my each and every subscript. So this is our array BT, and why I have drawn only three blocks or only three partition, because in our program, as I told you or as I mentioned you earlier, we are going to keep the input constant so that it's very easy for you to remember. So our assumption is the user is going to input the n value as 3, and there are three processes, and since there are three processes, we are going to accept the burst time of only three processes. So our burst time array, I am showing only three subscripts. Okay, first subscript is 0, subscript number 0, second is 1, and the third subscript is subscript number 2. And when we execute the program, we enter the value of n as 3. How many processes? 3. And then we enter the burst time of process P1 as 5, burst time of process P2 as 1, and burst time of process P3 as 7. You can enter anything, but in our lab journal, I have kept this input constant for all the CPU scheduling algorithms. So let me just write. We have our BT array. BT array is of size 3 here because user has entered only 3 processes. The value of n is 3. The burst time of the first process is 5. The burst time of the second process is 1. And the burst time of the third process is 7. Now which process gets a chance to get inside the CPU first? Since this is SJF, process, the second process is the smallest process, and this process gets a chance to get inside the CPU first. So in our program, what are we doing? We are rearranging this BT array. Okay. So rearranging means we are going to compare. We are going to compare each and every element with each other, and if we find that the bigger element is at the beginning of the array, we are going to swap those elements. Fine. So in this case, we compare 5 with 1. So we compare, is 5 less than 1? Is 5 less than 1? No. So what do? We have to move 5 at position 1, and we have to move this 1 at position 0. So what is our new array now? Now this array will be changed because we are swapping, we are comparing, and we found that 5 is greater than 1, and that's why 5 need to be shifted to the next position and 1 should be taken to position number 0 or at subscript 0. So let me just draw the BT array again. And now after swapping, after comparison, we are swapping the places of 1 and 5, and this is what is our BT array. Now we compare 5 and 7 with each other. Is 5 less than 7? Yes, we are very happy. There is no swapping. So now if you see, the array is in sorted order 1, 5, 7. Since this is just 3 elements, it's very easy. If user enters 5 elements, how it is going to work? It's going to compare the consecutive numbers. Then if the first number is greater than the second number, swapping takes place. Then again that number is compared with the next number, third number. If the second number is greater than the third number, swapping takes place. Then that third number is going to come. Then that third number will be compared with the fourth number. If the third number is greater than the fourth number, swapping takes place. And this is how the array is being rearranged in ascending order. And that's what we are doing in our nested for loop. Now let's go to the nested for loop and see what happens. Let's draw the BT array once again. 0, subscript 1 and subscript 2. And what have we entered? We have entered the value 5, second value 1 and 7. And also at the same time we have store the values of our processes or the process number into an array called as P. So this is our array P. So 3 processes. This is our process number 1. So first value is process number 1 and the burst time of process number 1 is 5. In this subscript we have process number 2 and the burst time of process number 2 is 1, and in this subscript we have process number 3 and the burst time of process number 3 is 7. Okay, so these processes are associated with their burst time. Process number 1 is at position 0 or at subscript 0, and the burst time of process 1 is also at subscript 0, that is 5. Process number 2 is at subscript 1. Here you can see it is at subscript 1 and its burst time is also at subscript 1. Process number 3 is at subscript 2 and its burst time, which is 7, is also at subscript 2. Okay, so just remember these two arrays, one is BT and one is P. 0, what is there at position 0? In BT array it is a burst time, in P array it is process 1, and so on. Let's come to this for loop. If you see, there is a variable I. So since we are tracing the program, what are we doing? We are tracing the program. Tracing means we are actually taking the dry run. Dry run means executing the program without the computer. So mentally we are going to trace after which statement, what is the next statement, what is the scenario where the control will go, what happens, all that. So we have the variable I and we also have one variable called as J. Now what is the value of I? What is the value of I? 0. Is 0 less than n minus 1? What is n minus 1? If n is 3, then n minus 1 is 2. See, the outer for loop which has the variable I, it is checking the condition for n minus 1. So what is the value of I? I is 0. What are we checking? We are checking is 0 less than 2? Yes. So it enters the body of the outer for loop, and in that body we have one more for loop. Here there is a variable j for this. And what is the value of j? Initial value of j? It says I plus 1. If I is 0, j is 1. I plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. Okay. Then there is a condition. What is the condition? Is j less than n? What is the value of n? 3. Is 1 less than 3? Yes. So again it enters the body of the inner for loop. Now let us see what is there in inner for loop. So when we enter the body of the inner for loop, there is one if condition. This if condition is to check, or this if condition is to compare the two values or the two numbers. Okay. Now what are we comparing? We are comparing BT of I. What is I? 0. So we are comparing value 5, which is at position 0, and we are comparing it with BT of j. What is the value of j? 1. What is the value of j? 1. So what are we comparing? We are comparing this value. We are comparing 5 and 1. So what is the condition here? We are checking. If BT of I is greater than BT of j, so we are comparing is 5 greater than 1. Yes, the condition is true. So the first number is bigger than the second number. So what we have to do? We have to swap the positions of these two numbers. So there is a comment. If you see, there is a comment that I have written which says swap the burst time. So how do you swap? Like, how do you swap it? If I just copy this 5 into the first subscript, I will lose my value 1. I want to preserve that because I want to put that value 1 in my first subscript. So what I will do, I will take one temporary variable. What I will do, I will take some temporary variable, and in this temporary variable, what I will do, I will store the value 5. In that temporary variable, I am storing the value 5. Replace that 5 with 1. Whatever was here, no? That 1 value, that I am copying it here. Now 5 is not there, but there is 1. Then After that, this 5 I will copy here. So what is my new BT? What I am doing? I am copying the second number. I am copying the second number into the first subscript. And how do I do that? First, what I do, whatever is the value in the first subscript, I store it into the variable temp, and then I say this value which was there in the second position, I copy that value in the first position. And now here I want to copy 5. Where is my 5? It is in temp. So whatever is the value in temp, that I am copying into my second subscript. So this is how the swapping takes place. Directly we cannot exchange, because when we try to directly exchange, we lose the value. If I copy 1 into my first subscript, I lose the value 5. And from where I am going to get that value? So I store that value into a variable whose name is temporary temp. So temporarily I store that value into the variable, and I copy it back to the second position. Okay, so this is what we have done here. So there is a swapping taking place so that the burst times of the processes are swapped. So the value 1 comes to the position 0. It is at the beginning of the array, and 5 is shifted subscript 1. Okay, we are very happy. The burst time has been swapped. We have arranged our burst time array. But what about the processes? Now process P1, burst time is 1? No, process P1 you entered as 5. But you changed the values in burst time array and you forgot to change the process numbers. So when you rearrange the burst time, you also have to rearrange the process. So the same thing we are doing here. The same thing we are doing here. So what are we doing? This value 1 we are copying into the variable temp. So temp is equal to 1, and then we copy this value 2 into this first subscript. There is no 1 here. 1 is replaced with 2, and from this temp we copy the value 1. So 2 is not there now, and it is 1. So what is our P array now? P array is 2, 1, 3. So you see, the burst time of process 2 is 1, the burst time of process 1 is 5, and the burst time of process 3 is 7. So this is what we are doing. We are sorting the burst time array as per the value of the burst time, and whenever we sort the array, whenever we change the element from this position to that position, at the same time we are also changing the values of our process array. Okay, so that there is no confusion and we maintain the process and the burst time link. Okay, so this is all about this nested for loop. Thank you.